Disastrous bushfires burning in northern New South Wales have claimed the lives of 2 people near Glen Innes. 5 others are unaccounted for. Authorities are expecting that number to rise. The remains of 1 person was discovered in a burnt-out car. Forensic police are working to identify them. A woman found with critical burns has died in hospital. At least 100 homes have been destroyed, including on the mid-north coast around Foster and the villages of Rainbow Flat, Wallaby Point, Hillville and Bobbin. 19 firefighters are among 30 people who have been injured. The severe situation is set to worsen.
Forecast weather conditions on Tuesday could mean that we're not through the worst of it. Whilst this situation is so severe, I have such full confidence in our volunteers and emergency services personnel on the ground. There are now over 1,300 people on the ground to protect communities against these fires.
They're being backed up by the Australian Defence Force.
The ADF are already providing assistance with airlift support, and that has not only been the C-130s which you've seen coming out of Adelaide, but also the RAF's own VIP fleet has been used through the BBJ to provide support also today. That will continue. In addition to that, I convened this morning with those ministers who have direct operation responsibility in these areas, a meeting of my cabinet ministers, and the ADF is presenting options on call-outs of reservists as may be necessary.
Authorities warn there could be more casualties and loss when impact assessment teams are able to access the worst affected areas.
We could see more casualty and more loss as the details unfold. Across the fire grounds yesterday, as the Premier and the Minister have indicated, it was unprecedented for New South Wales to have so many fires burning at the emergency warning alert level. 17 concurrent fires were burning at the emergency warning alert level yesterday, and another 9 at the same time were burning at watch and act alert level, which were a number of fires out of a total of 99 burning across New South Wales at that point in time. Of those emergency warning fires, that's an indication that people, that property were being absolutely impacted or imminently impacted by all of those fires at the same time. There was a huge focus and a desperate focus to try and get firefighters, aircraft, emergency services to as many people in need as possible. But the reality is, and we've heard 000 calls, we've heard messages to our control centres, messages to our information line, that many people were calling in indicating that they were trapped or isolated and felt uncomfortable or frightened with what was surrounding them, but we simply couldn't get people, firefighters, aircraft or resources into some of these communities, and it took many hours to even make it through.
Dramatic recordings have been released of crews in trouble in the fire zone.
It's a negative. We've been trapped by a falling tree. Over. Okay, usually you're protecting you and your vertical, your curtains and stuff, your tent sprinklers on, and say, here you go, copy. Keep clear, let us know how you're going. Yeah, copy that. We're engaging protection. You do what you can for overrun. Let us know when it passes and that you're safe, copy. Will do. Activating emergency procedures.
Total fire bans are in place for much of the state today, and the fire danger rating is at very high. Emily Burley joins me now live from Darrawank on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. Emily, both the Pacific Highway and Lakes Way are closed.
That's right. As you said, we are at Darrawank. That's between Foster and Taree. We're on the Lakes Way, which is the main alternate route north to Taree. As you said, the Pacific Highway is also closed, so at this time there is no way north. Now, as we have been reporting, 2 people have been confirmed dead in these New South Wales fires. One, a body found this morning in a burnt-out car near Glen Innes. A second, a woman was taken to hospital yesterday with significant burns. She did not survive those injuries. Currently across the state there are 2 emergency level bushfires burning, one at Hillville and one at Stockyard Flat. Around 80 fires burning in total. Roughly half of those are at this time uncontained. Most of those fires are on the mid-north coast, the New England, northwest and northern rivers region. Now, the number of fires we have been seeing are unprecedented. At one point yesterday there were 17 emergency level bushfires, which is the most that we've ever seen at any one time in New South Wales. In fact, fire authorities said yesterday we had more bushfire activity in that day alone than we have had in the entire bushfire season last year. Now, we do know other states, South Australia and ACT, are sending crews and aircraft to help New South Wales firefighters with these blazes. And we have heard a short time ago from the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, the Australian Defence Force will be providing assistance as well.
Yeah, Emily, those road closures are certainly really slowing motorists down trying to get north in the state. I know yesterday they were saying don't even bother trying to go further north because there were even the threat that the New England highway might be closed, which would see really the three main routes going north of New South Wales closed. But I guess today does seem like a lot of people there seem to be at least listening to the authorities there on the ground. Are they, I guess, not listening to those advice and heeding to those warnings?
They are, fortunately, lots of people here being diverted or turned around. People generally complying with the RFS, of course. It is sound advice not to go into those areas. Some residents have been let back through to those parts that are safe to assess any damage to their properties, but for the most part, people aren't being let through. More than 100 homes, as we've been reporting, have been lost, as well as other infrastructure, a school, bridges, an RFS station. People who have been in these areas are being urged to register with the Red Cross so that people can be accounted for. The RFS is having trouble getting to people because there simply are so many fires and they are so dangerous. But in terms of conditions, it has eased off a little bit since yesterday. It's not quite as warm, but certainly it's still very dry and windy. The concern, though, is that the conditions will pick up again, particularly on Tuesday, where that fire danger will be very high.
All right, thanks for the update there, Emily. Certainly good advice to register with the Red Cross. Certainly would make everyone's lives a lot easier as we navigate the next few days with a lot of firefighters on the ground, a lot of people still missing as well. Well, as I mentioned, 2 people have died in Kangawalla near Glen Innes. The town's mayor, Carol Sparks, spoke about the devastation to the community a short time ago.
We're all in shock. Many people are still coming to terms with losing everything that they've got. People have fought very hard all night to save their houses. We can't get access to our homes at the moment because the bridge to the community is cut off and blown up, actually, in the fire. We've lost our school. We are absolutely devastated. I'm being taken down today to have a look at the remains of my house, and we are still looking for people. So just put a call out for anybody that comes from Waitalaba that is not there. Could they please give the RFS Control Centre a call to say they're safe? We're still looking for people. We've got a dead person, and you know, it's just devastating. The climate change reality is here, and the wall of fire that hit us yesterday was unreal. It was just unprecedented, and people couldn't get to help. We've got over 100 people on in our small village, but in the whole electorate, we're on fire. It's to the east, to the north, to the west of us. And depending on the weather conditions today, we're still under threat. I'll ask everybody, if they want to make donations, take them to the showgrounds. That's the evacuation centre. We've got people at the hospital that are going to stay there today because they're so shocked. And people are offering accommodation, which is wonderful. If they could just ring council or ring the RFS for information, I'd be very grateful. And my thoughts go out to everybody. People were still trying to protect their house. The wind was unprecedented. It was bad all night, and so they were fighting to protect their houses. My neighbours are in hospital at the present moment. My thoughts go out to them, and also they heard my house blowing up. They heard loud explosions coming from my house, so I'm going down to see the damage.
Some terrible stories there that are emerging from this emergency bushfire situation across New South Wales. Northern Tablelands MP Adam Marshall says the fatal bushfires are an omen of the fire season to come.
It is quite eerie. We've currently got 35 people that were managed to evacuate from the Waitalabar village that are in Glen Innes now at the showground at the Emergency Recovery Centre, and they're being looked after by the Salvation Army. But I think largely it's shock. I mean, we've had fires here for months and months now, very, very large ones, but this is the first time in our part of the world we've actually seen some people lose their lives. So understandably, people are very much in shock, in mourning, and just really worried about what movement we're going to see from these other fires that are still burning over the next 24 to 36 hours. We're not in summer yet, and we haven't had the really hot days that summer brings with it yet, and yet we're seeing disastrous fire conditions that surpass anything anyone's seen in this part of the world before. So it's a real worry.
In the Blue Mountains, an emergency level fire that has burned dangerously close to homes has been downgraded. We spoke with Mayor Mark Greenhills. He says they're lucky considering the circumstances.
Yes, good news overnight. I've just spoken to the incident controller. Containment lines have gone in across the evening. At the moment, they are holding, but we still have a very long day ahead. Residents were in an evacuation centre last night. I understand that most, if not all, were found accommodation overnight. They'll be kept informed. And right now, this morning, they're preparing for a very long day ahead. I spent a couple of hours last night at the evacuation centre just moving around and talking to families. In the Blue Mountains, of course, we've been through this before, and that Blue Mountain spirit comes out. People's first question is about others, and then they ask about their own situation. So people are positive that, look, the love and respect that we have for our emergency services was confirmed again yesterday. The only reason we're not talking about lost property this morning is the incredible efforts of our emergency services, volunteers and paid services alike.